Good morning all of you. This is the fifth session for class 9 chemistry. I'm continuing with chapter 2. Today I will teach you about decomposition reaction and displacement reaction. So first we come to the decomposition reaction. As I told you in my audio also, that a compound will decompose or split into two elements, or a compound or an element, or into two compounds. So this is the example. When a compound mercuric oxide will decompose to give two elements, silver and oxygen, they are the two elements. Similarly here, a compound potassium nitrate will decompose into a compound and an element. Decompose means split or break. Similarly, in third example, calcium carbonate is breaking into two compounds, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So these three characteristics you have to learn for the decomposition reactions. Now, the thermal decomposition of oxides, hydroxides and nitrates of metals. This is the metal activity series we have done earlier also. Now, all the oxides except potassium to copper, they will break into metal and oxygen. Only the potassium oxide and copper oxide, they will not break into anything. They are stable to heat, we will say. And the other mercury oxide will break into metal, mercury and oxygen. Now we come to the hydroxide. Sodium and potassium, they are stable to heat. They will not break. Whereas from calcium to copper, they will break to give metallic oxide and water. So hydroxide will give metallic oxide and water. Carbonates will give carbon dioxide and metal oxide. Calcium to copper will give metal oxide and copper. Sodium and potassium are stable. Now mercuric and silver carbonates will give metal, carbon dioxide and oxygen. So you have to learn when the oxides of metals will break, which one are stable to heat and which metal oxides will give the metal and oxygen. Similarly, hydroxide will break, calcium to copper will break into metal oxide and water, and carbonates from sodium, potassium are stable. Calcium to copper will give copper oxide and carbon dioxide, and whereas mercury and silver will give you the metal, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Now we come to the nitrates of metal. Nitrates of metal, again sodium and potassium, they will give nitrite and oxygen. So potassium nitrate KNO3 will give on dissociation by absorption of it, they will give potassium nitrate plus oxygen. Similarly, calcium to copper will give metal oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So calcium nitrate will give calcium oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen, whereas silver and mercury will give metal, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. There are certain other examples also, like ammonium dichromate. It is of orange color. When it is heated, it will give chromic oxide, which is of green color, along with the nitrogen gas and water. Now there is another term, dissociation. These are kind of decomposition reaction, but the reaction is reversible. So ammonium chloride will give ammonia plus hydrochloric acid. Electrolytic dissociation, by passage of electric current, the compound will break into its constituent elements. Photochemical decomposition, by absorption of light. For example, silver chloride will break into silver and chlorine. Now there are displacement reaction. I told you that one element is going to displace another element. So here zinc, when is made to react with the copper sulfate, then zinc will displace copper from compound copper sulfate to give zinc sulfate and copper. Zinc is more electropositive than copper. Zinc is placed at the higher position over here in the metal activity series than copper. So zinc is displacing the copper. Similarly, chlorine is more electronegative than bromine, so it can also displace. Magnesium is above copper. So magnesium will displace copper in this reaction to give magnesium sulfate. Iron, it is above hydrogen, so when it is made to react with sulfuric acid, it forms FeSO4 plus H2. That is all for today's session. Have a good day.